This is Bunny Kuna. I drew her in 3 lines for a video a while ago, and honestly, I hate how she looks now. So let's fix that. About 1.5 years ago, I got a comment asking me to turn Sukuna, the strongest jujutsu sorcerer in history, the king of curses, into a hot lady. So I did, and to make it a challenge, I drew her in 3 lines. If you don't know what I mean by that, let me show you. This is a challenge where I try to draw a character in as few brushstrokes as possible without a guide or anything. In this example, I start the line at the back of the neck and end at his other shoulder. The mouth is line 2, then his brow ridge and eye is line 3. I do this for many of my videos, but it seemed that people especially liked the waifu Sukuna one, which was a big surprise to me because I rarely drew women up to that point. Its success pushed me to draw women more, and a few months later for Easter, I ran a poll to see who you wanted me to draw as a bunny girl. And that's how this monstrosity came to be. It's been almost exactly 1 year since, and I see a lot of things that I can improve. The face? Whack. The hair? Whack. The hands? Whack. The line weight? Whack. The way it's not shaded? Whack. The way she's just ominously standing there? Whack. So let's address each of those problems. First, we need a more dynamic pose. Art is all about conveying information through a visual medium. And to convey energy, you want a dynamic pose. A really good way to do this is by drawing what's called the line of action. Essentially a line that shows how the pose will bend and twist. The curvier the line of action, the more dynamic the pose tends to be. I didn't do that when I started sketching this, but I'll show you the difference when I'm done blocking in the gesture. First, I started with a simple Luma's head, and then I worked on the pose using the mannequin method. This new pose isn't super dynamic, but it's not as stiff as the original either. Now that that's sketched out, it's time to draw the face. Because my previous drawing was done in 3 lines, and because I hadn't practiced drawing women so much at the time, her old face looks pretty bad. It looks as if Sukuna had let Mahito mess his face up. Maybe not that bad. Anyway, to make the face look more feminine, we're gonna have to change a few key features. When drawing the pose, I already made the head more rounded, so next, let's make the nose smaller and the bridge of the nose less defined. These changes help imply softer facial features. And while I do like the dead-eyed, smiling expression from the original drawing, I think I can do better. Sukuna's manipulative, and he's willing to use people's affection for him to get his way. So let's go with something seductive, but sinister. Make the eyes a tad bigger and the eyelashes more pronounced. The eyes are going to be the seductive part of the expression. For the mouth, I'm still going to be giving her a little smile. But I'm going to be doing something a little extra. Let's give her fangs and a crazy tongue. It might look pretty sus right now, but you'll see what I'm going for when it's colored. With those changes done, let's finish up the head by adding the ears and the tattoos. Next on the list was fixing up the hands. This one's going to be pretty easy. One hand is going to be obscured by the hip, and the other is going to be brought up to the face, adding to the expression I hinted at. Next, we're drawing the hair. There's nothing particularly wrong about the hairstyle. So on that front, I'm just going to make sure that it's dynamic and looks cool. The main problem here isn't the hair itself. It's the bunny ears. She isn't an actual bunny, so the ears shouldn't pop out of her skull like that. Instead, let's turn them into a headband like they're supposed to be. With that, the majority of the issues in regards to the head have been addressed. So let's move on to the rest of the body. Starting with the chest, then moving on to the hips, working on the thighs, then adding some detail to the actual bunny suit. Finally, we'll finish the sketch portion of this illustration by adding the tattoos. Now with the sketch finished, it's time to move on to inking. I'm mostly just going to be going over this sketch, making sure to pay special attention to the line weight. But I did also make a couple decisions during the inking process. I flipped the head because I thought that it fit the body better, and since the previous drawing had fishnets, I decided to add those to this one as well. With that done, let's move on to coloring. For the base colors on the skin and hair, we're just going to color pick from another drawing of female Sukuna that I did. After I finish coloring the hair and face, let's move on to the part where YouTube's gonna demonetize me. Just kidding, I'm not monetized yet. Last but not least, I added the flat colors for the thighs before I moved on to the clothing. if you can call it that. For the base color in the bunny suit, I'm going to make that red to match Sukuna's eyes. Same thing goes with the bunny ears. With the flat stone, we'll need to add shading and highlights to the skin, hair, and most importantly, the bunny suit. The bunny suit on the old drawing was flat, but now we're going for a more latex or vinyl look for the costume. This means we need a darker base color, semi-saturated reflections, blown out white reflections, both hard and blended shadows, and some rim lighting. Rendering shiny objects requires a lot of lighting and shading techniques. Compared to the latex, adding highlights and shadows to the skin and hair is pretty simple. For the areas where shadows are being cast onto the body, we're going to use a hard-edged brush, and for the more rounded areas, we're going to use a softer brush to depict the gradual shift from light to dark. The hair casts a lot of shadows on itself, so I'm going to use a hard-edged brush to render it, but I'm also going to use those shadows to make it look like the hair has layers and isn't one solid mass. For this final bit, I'm going to render the face and add some shine to those bunny ears. To liven up the face, I add some blush, because in an outfit like that, you're either embarrassed or, After that, let's add some shadows to the face. Then let's add some of those lighting techniques that we used on the bunny suit for the ears. And with that, she's done, so let's compare. Starting with the original one, for a 3-line illustration, this isn't terrible. But this new one, she doesn't only have superior assets. I think she's drawn better in every single way. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want me to turn any of my other old drawings into full illustrations like this. Thank you to all my patrons for helping support the channel. You can find a link to that and my community Discord in the description of this video. And I want to thank you all so much for watching. Stay creative. So says Doom.